I'm behind a wall right now. You don't see me. You don't know what I look like. You know nothing past my gender and my voice and my intention to speak to you. You don't know me. This simple fact means profoundly more than the 4 words it entails. Being unknown, unidentified, clouded in mystery means I can be anything I want to be within the parameters of what you already know. Before now, you had no idea I existed. And yet it is from this potential of my unknown, beyond ambiguous being that an idea emerges. To all those with entrepreneurial minds, adventurous tastes, explorative senses, and innovative potential, listen carefully. Capitalize on the fact that no one knows you. You're not some big hotshot, and your name doesn't ring a very loud bell, which means you can talk about your idea without the constraints of prejudicial perception or judgment. You're only unknown once. You should use your low keyness to build up your craft and then surprise the world with what you've been slow cooking in your mental crock pot for these past 10,000 hours. By no means am I saying you must master your craft before you speak a single word on it, but rather that you should use your time of no prejudice to hone the skills needed to provide everyone with a genius idea they never thought they would have needed. It's no fun when everyone knows what you've been doing before you can wow them with the finished product. You wouldn't give someone a gift that's half done, so why would you present an idea before it's even finished? Your gift to the world are your ideas, the ones that push boundaries, confront complacency, and just make life better. Some are good, some are bad, and a few and far between are genius. A genius idea is like a perfectly ripe orange on a parched 40-degree day. People don't think to want it, but once they experience it, they don't regret it. Now, perfectly ripe fruit don't come right away. The seeds need to be scattered, the sun needs to nourish them, rain needs to fall, and the roots need to deepen. Likewise, ideas need to grow and spread to broaden, encouraged to grow, challenged to refine, and embodied to manifest. Now picture this. After a long day of playing sports outside in the dead of summer, you come back home and you're parched. Your mouth is dry, and you just want something that will quench your thirst. You see an orange on the counter, peeled and pitted. You put a slice in your mouth and find that it's so unripe and so sour, it turns your dry mouth even drier. You feel the little remnants of saliva you had suddenly evaporating in a sour smack to the face. That's what it's like to see gratification on work half done. Your grocery store won't give you a fruit that's so sour it'll swell your tongue for 3 days. They'll take care of the fruit and not send it out to your homes until absolutely ready to be eaten. The world is always thirsty for a genius idea, but when you give them an unripe one that hasn't been given the time and effort and blood and sweat and tears, it's going to leave a sour taste in their mouths. So whether your idea is a new art piece, a revolutionary scientific discovery, or an economic breakthrough, instant gratification is your worst enemy. It hinders your capability to gift the world with innovation and compromises the potential it had to be truly impactful. In our increasing virtually connected days, we can find ourselves in the middle of a project, wanting to post a picture on Instagram about how we've worked so hard till 2 a.m. and how people so direly need to see the progress we've made on work that isn't even done. In a matter of seconds, a few likes and a couple comments make us feel like it's all worthwhile. But see, instant gratification is just that, an instant. An instant is here and gone the next. There's just no point in seeking it. By making meaningless status updates and frivolous progress reports, the craft that was once yours dilutes itself with other people's ideals and visions through means of comments and likes, or lack thereof. Your work doesn't remain your own, but rather becomes more of a concoction of the opinions of this person and the judgments of that person, and less of what you envisioned the recipe to be. You end up losing your identity by the very means you thought would build it. Ironic, isn't it? Take the time to try and perfect every aspect of your project before unveiling it. 4 a.m. on an irrelevant weekend just for some pity likes or petty admiration, it wouldn't be the right time. Show less and do more. Don't show until absolutely necessary. Every idea has a maturity point, a point where it is fully developed and ready to be shared. Don't ever let that idea slip out before then. It reduces the impact it could have and throws away the potential of it. Not only does releasing a genius idea at the right moment allow access to places closed prior, It also allows more doors to be open. Now, this doesn't apply to just the somebodies or the nobodies. It applies to everyone. I recently listened to a podcast on distinguished author Salman Rushdie. He talked about how in the mid-90s he wrote about 100 pages of one of his books, and he loved it. And he wanted to show people, and he wanted to be told by other people that that was the greatest portion that he's ever written in his life. And so he showed a couple people, and they ate it up. They really, really liked it. But what happened after he basked in the glory of his marvelously written portion was a 3-month-long writer's block. And at that moment, he realized that showing other people progress reports or showing work that's not done yet actually debilitates everything that he's worked on. And I couldn't have agreed more. If you ask any experienced pressure cooking specialist, like say your grandmother, they'll tell you that the worst thing you can do is lift the lid of the crock pot before it's finished. Not only does it let out the juices and the flavors and the gases that have yet to seep into the food, but when you show work in progress, all the bits of unrealized potential and creativity also evaporate in that air that you fill your head with. The likes and the comments and the feedback you get can either blow up your ego or deflate your confidence. Your piece of work, instead of being a rubber ball that bounces around, becomes a piece of rubber that's chewed in another person's mouth and spit up to you so that you can mold back together. Salman Rushdie said something I also found pretty brilliant. He said, if you shut your mouth about your project, it'll come out through your fingers. And that's the thing that we need to realize. If you have an idea that's going to change something, perception in visual art, silhouettes in fashion, structures in architecture, anything, you don't need to rave about it. You don't need a post online or a mouth to talk about it or even a verbal dissertation on its premise or its vision. The thing about genius ideas is that it's going to come out one way or another. When it only comes out through talk, which is often characterized with loud fits of passion or potentially aggressive body language, you're just going to look crazy. Contrarily, if you let that genius flow through the hands that you built it with, through the mind you conceived it with, and the soul you captured it with, then you're allowing that idea and that genius to gestalt itself into the open. The wheel is far more genius than the sum of its parts. A circle and a stick don't make a genius idea, but it's the heart, the soul, the mind, the spirit, everything behind it that makes it what it is. Now, I seem to be throwing around the word genius a lot, and I like it because it makes some people uncomfortable. Only people like Da Vinci or Newton or Einstein can really be called geniuses, right? I don't think so. One thing that's in common between all geniuses is that they found their purpose. Have you found yours? Has the P in purpose been lost in the approval you seek in others, or the U in the usurper that stole your childlike creativity? The R in the reward of the instant? The pressure you feel from society to conform? The O in the opinions of people you don't even know? Or the S in the skewed sense of self-esteem that you've allowed yourself to fall into? Or the E in everyone telling you to be you without really being you? So think about that for a second. Is it worth it to dilute your genius with the judgments and opinions and validations of other people? Once you find your purpose in life, everything becomes clear. But if that lies in the approval and the acceptance of others, you're not going to go very far. Now, there are 3 major points that sparked this idea in me. Firstly, I realized that we have a lot of voices in our heads. Sometimes they say good things, sometimes they say bad things, but they've all come from different experiences in our lives. Maybe they tell you you'd be a great neurosurgeon and a furniture designer at the same time. Or maybe they'll tell you that those 2 professions don't work together and that it's silly to even think about that. But these voices aren't your own. I assure you that there was some point in time where some kid named Billy said, "Your shoes are ugly," or "Your artwork sucks." And it's those voices of doubt and judgment that reverberate inside your mind, that transcend the creativity and innovation that you have bouncing inside of you. I heard earlier that if you ask a group of 4-year-old boys who's the fastest runner, they'll all raise their hand. Even young Charlie, who's always last at the water fountain. Now more than ever, social media has an abundance of judgments and opinions that float around. And it's making a lot of voices pop into our heads that aren't our own. And don't let that drown you. And secondly, we've created so many unnecessary boundaries and rules in our society that create negative perception. The fertility of minds for the seeding of creativity are just floundered by all of these voices and all of these boundaries that are created. There are so many renditions of a right and a wrong that all truth is relative. And that makes it very difficult for a pure idea or a pure thought to come out. For example, I heard about a little kid, probably about 2 years old, who was asked, "What's your favorite color?" And he chose pink instead of blue. And automatically some people are like, I don't know, that seems kind of wrong. Society tells us that blue is boy and pink is not. But that's just another way that perception hinders our growth. And thirdly, the sum of the boundaries and the voices all debilitate us on achieving our innermost creative. The boundaries are the caution tape, and the voices are the shouts that tell us to take one step back from the crime scene, to shed a blind eye on the killing of our creative identity. We all have unrealized treasures inside of us, but the moment we validate these confinements, these reclusive confinements around us, we kill the potential to create, and we oppress the possibilities of our future. And to further combat the concept of perception, I'll have you guys know that those 3 points are actually from somebody a lot of people like to hate, Kanye West. His remark on society in his song Power has resonated with me for a very, very long time. And he said, "I just need a time alone with my own thoughts. The treasures in my mind, I couldn't open up my own vault. My childlike creativity, purity, and honesty have honestly been clouded by these grown thoughts." He's a constant inspiration to push the norm and throw it out the window. And isn't that why we're here? Our purpose may not be known explicitly to each and every one, but adding our own flavor to the mix is exactly what it is. Now, remember when I talked about fruit and how a genius idea is the perfectly ripe one on a hot day? Well, I have 2 more truths to reveal based on that have been cooking in my mental crockpot for a long time. 1, some people don't like fruit. And 2, it doesn't matter. Don't stop harvesting your fruit and investing in the soil of your mind. Don't cover your leaves with the pesticides of perception and judgment. Let this be an example for you. Every moment you don't hear about what I'm doing, I'm cooking up something great. I want you guys to think about that too, for your own self. I'm about to feast with the people I starved with, and that's word up to the squad. Recalibrate yourself to the compass of your soul. You're meant to be something, but you can be anything you want to be. So go out there and be it. Bring your food to the potluck. Just don't tell me about it. Thank you.